pretty rare these days. That would be public officials standing up to Trump. But when it does happen, it reveals a lot about both sides. I mean, it's easy for people like Mitch McConnell, who's retiring. He's a tough guy now. But the real tough elected officials did it knowing that it could cost them their jobs. And in some cases, their families and even their lives. Cheney had Trump threaten her.
Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face.
And Kinzinger lost family and friends for his stand against Trump's traitorous criminal acts and megalomania. But today, there's a building crescendo of anger, hate, vitriol, and call for action as Trump parades around like a dotardly pigsty. And those rising voices are standing up for both principles and constituents. Next, the latest salvo of anti-fascist MAGA bullshit, and it comes to you in this next video. But first, a reminder to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It doesn't hurt and it's free. And if you do it right now, you get 2 hits of ecstasy, and I'll let you sit in for a couple songs this weekend with the Chuck E. Cheese Band.
Chuck E. Cheese can't eat a big bag of dicks.
The latest voice comes from Maine, where the governor is standing up for their rights to allow transgender athletes to compete in any way the state chooses to allow. You know, states' rights, remember that?
The NCAA has complied immediately, by the way, that's good. But I understand Maine, is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
Well, we are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor, because I don't think you'll be in elected politics. Every state has a responsibility to comply with Title IX. They have an obligation, a legal obligation, and we'll be enforcing aggressively, and we're going to be protecting our citizens. We're going to protect.
That's great on so many levels. That's Maine's Governor Janet Mills. Not only did she not back down, but Trump revealed exactly who he is. A tottering old man who believes all the bullshit he hears about himself on Fox.
Judge, and I say this with a unblemished record of heterosexuality. He looks good. And he looks hard.
What the hell did you just say?
Maine's Governor Janet Mills is an outlier. But Mills, before the Republican Governors Association meeting, joined with other Maine officials and said the state's not going to be intimidated by tiny fingers.
We are the federal law.
Trump thinks his executive orders can usurp federal law. He even thinks he is federal law. But that would be Congress. The executive order, which the First Lady signed on February the 5th as part of his anti-trans agenda, rescinds federal funds from educational programs if schools fail to adhere to his ban. You see, Donnie Diapers thinks that federal agencies should interpret Title IX, which is a federal civil rights law barring schools that receive federal funding from practicing sex-based discrimination, in a way that complies with this order, which led to Mills making this statement. The state of Maine will not be intimidated by president's threats. If Trump unilaterally deprives Maine school children of the benefit of federal funding, my administration and the Attorney General will take all appropriate and necessary legal action to restore that funding and the academic opportunity it provides. Maine's Attorney General, a guy named Aaron Fry, said any attempt by the president to cut federal funding to Maine over the issue would be illegal and direct violation of federal court orders. And it is. Look, the law on this is pretty clear. The feds have no business interfering.
Put on your big boy pants. Pass your own bill.
There is no federal statute prohibiting a state from allowing men and women to compete, and Maine has left open the possibility of amending their own laws if the situation seems warranted.
The transgender thing is incredible. Think of it. Your kid goes to school and comes home a few days later with an operation. The school decides what's going to happen with your child. And you know, many of these childs 15 years later say, what the hell happened? Who did this to me?
And by the way, we're talking about 12 people, 12 trans athletes in the entire state of Maine. Still, Trump continues to lie about LGBT. But as Governor Mills' courage caused Tiny Finger's penis to recede in front of all these people, he resorted to threats, as he always does.
So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
This guy got his ass chewed out by a crowd of Americans who've had enough.
The people would like to know what you, congressmen, and your fellow congressmen are going to do to rein in the megalomaniac in the White House.
The climate is changing, and while the MAGA movement still has legs, the infighting is strong and vociferous.
Elon Musk is a total and complete phony.
And should Trump try to block federal funds from going to Maine, the courts will step in, which then led to Trump and Musk to question whether Trump can ignore their rulings. But in the end, Trump and this f***ing dotard are sensing a real climate change. The recent poll found 83% of Americans disapprove of the January 6 pardons, and Trump's approval rating has flopped like his massive gut when he unsnaps his man girdle. Trump loves to threaten women, but this time, she pushed back.
Damn right.
I'm as mad as hell.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.